Arizona big man Azuolas Tubelis dropped 40 points against Oregon, including 27 in the first half alone. Now, that's the most points scored by an Arizona player in 28 years. Tubelis helped the now fourth-ranked Wildcats get even with Oregon, winning 91-76 on Thursday night. And taking a look at Tubelis over the past two games, averaging 29.5 points per game, just putting up video-like numbers that we don't really see in college basketball. Again, scoring 40 in their win over Oregon. That is the most, again, by an Arizona player in the past 28 years. And at this time of the year, Jerry Palm, he is a busy guy putting together his latest bracketology. And now we're looking at the bracketology projected 2 seeds, according to Jerry Palm. Arizona is in there, along with Tennessee, Kansas State, and Houston. Let's welcome in the guy himself, Jerry Palm, alongside Matt Norlander to talk about some college hoops. And starting off with Arizona, they're on a 6-game winning streak and just an incredible performance by Tubelis. And Jerry, you still have them as a 2 seed. So we got to know, what do you need to see from Arizona to put them as a 1 seed in your bracketology?
Well, they're just going to have to keep winning. The problem for Arizona is that quality wins, the kind of wins that get you juiced to move up the bracket, are lacking. The opportunities aren't there in the Pac-12 because really only UCLA can give them that kind of a win. They've already beaten them at home. I don't know if they even get them on the road. I haven't looked at their schedule ahead, but that's it. I mean, that's really when they are going to try and get the kind of quality wins to compete with the teams at the top of this bracket. The opportunities aren't there for them. And they've also got a weird resume in the sense that all 3 of their losses are to teams that are not in the bracket, and really only Oregon has a chance of making that kind of a run to the bracket. So it's a very odd resume, but the teams that they're competing with are in stronger leagues and those teams have chances to stack some high quality wins. So the margin for error for Arizona to be a 1 seed is pretty small.
Yeah, I believe, Jerry, the only quad 1 opportunities left here in the regular season will be the final 2 games at USC and then the return at UCLA. Just had to check the schedule, make sure they were both roadies. They are roadies. Those would be top 75 opponents in road environments, you would think, although USC needs to take care of business. But how about this? Big picture, I think Arizona is one of the 5 best teams in the country. Doesn't matter if it's got a 1, a 2, or a 3 next to its name whenever it gets to the bracket. What Tommy Lloyd's been able to do, again, remember this team was a 1 seed last season. It got bumped out of the bracket by Houston. Tubelis has been a huge reason for that. He would be probably a first-team All-American for me right now. Look at this. Look at these. If I had to bump one out right now, I think I'd bump out Brandon Miller slightly and have Tubelis after. You mentioned the 28-year gap there, Jacqueline. Damon Stoudemire, the last guy to do that. Arizona's defense has gotten better, and it's not just Tubelis, but he's been a big factor. Another guy I'd keep a name on going forward is Courtney Ramey at Arizona. He's been a transfer from Texas, and I think his impact is going to be even more pronounced. In addition to the likes of Pelle Larsson, who continues to come along, and then Kirk Kriisa is the best trash talker in all of college hoops. Zono might be faded big picture nationally because they're not on TV a ton, but this team is good enough, and they have the roster, in my opinion, to seriously contend to win the national championship.
Up next for Arizona, they're hosting Oregon State on Saturday. Now, Purdue, still a number 1 seed despite losing to Indiana. And Jerry, a close road loss to a ranked team that is hot like Indiana isn't changing your mind about Purdue right now.
No, and it didn't matter that it was Indiana. Purdue's margin was so big between them and number 2 that they could have lost to almost anybody and still stayed the overall number 1 seed. Now, it happened to be Indiana, and that is a tough environment, and they took the first 20 minutes off and made a strong run in the second half and almost got it back. But, yeah, that's not the kind of a loss that's really damaging for Purdue. Now their margin over number 2 Alabama and the other teams chasing them is significantly smaller. It's not impossible that they can take another loss and stay overall number 1, but probably not this week when they host Iowa on Thursday night.
How about this? How about Purdue? I think this speaks to the evolution of AP poll voters. Purdue remains number 1 in the AP top 25 even after taking a loss. Houston was in position to be number 1, but because it didn't lose, Houston's up to number 2 this week. I actually think that's a good sign. And I also think that guys like Jerry Palm doing this bracketology in February, voters pay attention to that. I think voters are now taking into account the entire resume more than just recency bias and Did you lose in the past week? If you did, you absolutely have to drop X amount of spots or whatever. So Purdue stays on the one line for Palm, of course. They're the best overall resume. And then they're still a 1 seed in the AP Top 25. I can report I have been speaking with Julia Eady here, and we'll have a Zach Eady feature coming at CBSSports.com soon. And she told me one of the biggest reasons why Purdue is this good is Zach's the reason why he's National Player of the Year front runner. But he has his growing up. He played hockey and baseball, and those sports being his first sports, he resisted basketball. He got challenged. He had to feel challenged. And Zach even told me, if I played basketball from the age of 6, I wouldn't be what I am now. He didn't start playing organized hoops until he was sophomore in high school, and now he's the best player in the country. So Purdue remains among the most intriguing teams, and in my opinion, the best team in all of college hoops.
Sounds like a cool feature, Matt. Looking forward to seeing that one. Okay, Texas, now a 1 seed after wins over Baylor and Kansas State. We got a huge Big 12 battle on tap tonight against Kansas. Jerry, how secure is Texas as a 1 seed for you, moving up until the tournament?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think Texas is more secure than Kansas at the moment, even though Kansas has got one more quad 1 win. Both of these teams have got loaded resumes. And Texas has got 8 quad 1 wins. Kansas has got 9. Purdue has 8, and nobody else has more than 7. So, these teams have beaten a lot of high-quality teams, and most of those quad 1 wins are against teams that are in the bracket today. So the Big 12 has been really strong, but these guys got the job done outside the league as well. But Kansas has the extra loss at the moment, so Texas is a little more secure. I don't know that a 6th loss for Kansas is going to let them stay on the top line of the bracket.
Kansas has lost 4 of its past 5 games in Big 12 competition. That had never happened before under Bill Self until this season. And if it were to lose in this spot tonight and drop 5 out of 7 overall, that would also be a first-time thing under Bill Self. This game, to me, is more about Kansas than it is about Texas. Texas is good. It's done a really, really solid job this season. I'd say it's, been even slightly better than anticipated. Kansas, you got to take advantage here. A home floor, get the win, get yourself back into the Big 12 race. A loss here, I'm not going to put Kansas outside being, a top 10, 12 team in the country or anything like that. But if this is going to really be a team that's going to viably threaten to repeat, and we know how hard it is to repeat as a national champion in men's college basketball, particularly in this age, but you get the job done here at Fog Allen. I expect Kansas to win. You see KJ Adams there. He's been tremendous this season alongside pretty much every other Kansas starter. Jalen Wilson is the stud to know. I expect the Jayhawks to get it done and to beat the Longhorns on Monday night.
Texas 8-2 in the Big 12, and then Kansas 6-4 in Big 12 play. Okay, one of the hottest teams in college basketball, St. Mary's, getting that win over Gonzaga. And Matt, when we talked to you last week and asked you which out of the ranked-on-ranked matchups you were looking forward to most over this past weekend, you were so pumped for this game. You said Gonzaga, St. Mary's. You gave us all the energy. So did it live up to your expectations?
It did. It did. That was an awesome, awesome way to wrap up a really fun Saturday in college hoops. And St. Mary's getting that win, just its 3rd win ever as a ranked team playing against ranked Gonzaga. And the first time in 15 years, St. Mary's has actually beat Gonzaga in back-to-back seasons on its home floor. You see Aiden Mahaney, he came out better this weekend than pretty much anyone in college hoops. He was having a bad game through the first half and the first 10 minutes of the second half, and then he flipped the game. Gonzaga led that game for more than 36 minutes. To me, it brings national validation to St. Mary's and their standing, and this could be the team. Really, St. Mary's has only made one Sweet 16 under Randy Bennett. This team, both in how it's seeded, how deep it could go in the tournament, and how it lands in, mainstream predictive metrics, it could actually be the best season ever for St. Mary's under Randy Bennett, and now it's in position to win its first WCC regular season title in more than a decade.
Yeah, these two teams have interesting resumes, and I think you could actually still argue that Gonzaga has a better tournament resume because of the quality of their wins and the quality of their losses. This was St. Mary's best win of the year. Their 2nd best win of the year is San Diego State. That's a pretty good team. They have 2 quad 3 losses. Gonzaga has 1 also. So I think these resumes are actually pretty similar, and I'm not so sure that a home win in overtime over Gonzaga actually pushes St. Mary's past them. But both of these teams, I think, need better wins, but Gonzaga did a better job of getting that done outside the league because they always play a very challenging non-conference schedule.
All right, that is Matt Norlander and Jerry Palm joining us here on CBS Sports HQ to talk a little college hoops. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. You can check out Jerry's latest Bracketology over on CBSSports.com, and you can hear Matt on the Eye on College Basketball podcast. In the very latest episode, Matt and the crew are giving you a bonus episode on a Monday answering some listener questions. You can download and listen wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also scan that QR code.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.